that is showing this, then you may want to close it. Because anyway, we're on now, and let me close this browser. Okay, so here we are. Mark Romig, good morning. This is Steve Sabadeski, Bayoubuzz.com, and we had a little hiccup here, but listen, thanks a lot for sharing your morning with us.
Great to be with you, Steven.
I appreciate it. Well, you know, the first question I have is how is New Orleans tourism doing? By the way, I want to let you know that we are broadcasting live. This is currently on Facebook, on Google Plus, on Bayoubuzz, and on YouTube Live. And so I just want to let you know that. So tell us about New Orleans tourism. We're in the summer months, so what can we expect?
Yeah, Stephen, you know, that's a good question because the summer months are primarily the months that we like to focus our marketing, because historically it has provided the opportunity for visitors to get really good hotel deals. The restaurants have capacity, the attractions are available, and so we are marketing New Orleans as a great destination for the summer, both families as well as individuals. And we're seeing a very robust start for the month of June. You know, we've just finished a wonderful French Market Creole Tomato Festival. The weekend prior to that, of course, we had the Oyster Festival. This coming weekend is the Louisiana Cajun Zydeco Festival, located over at Armstrong Park. And so we're seeing a steady mix of really terrific events that showcase the authenticity and the culture of New Orleans, which is driving a lot of what we call the drive market into the city. People will come in on late Friday or Saturday morning and stay the weekend. And that's been very healthy for visitor spending, because you know, at the end of the day, what we are about is promoting New Orleans to pull a visitor here as opposed to them choosing another destination, and when they're here, spending their money, which adds to the general economy, but also helps us sustain and then also improve the job picture. At the end of the day, we're about sustaining and creating more jobs and more economic opportunity for our citizens that live here. And so it's been a good start for this. In June, it will soon be July, and we kick off July with the 20th anniversary of the Essence Festival, a huge event for our city. Already signs are that the hotels for that weekend of July 4th are at 99% occupied. It's a great sign.
Yeah, and that's a great festival. Speaking of festivals, yesterday we did an interview regarding Festivals. Now, that's an incredible event, and I know this is, what, the fourth year?
Yeah, Diane Lyons and Sandra Dardis have really made something out of what was just an idea of having an event for women, targeting women from not only the New Orleans area but from around the region, and now nationally they're flying in for this, and it's a fun event. It's educational. It has a cause around it, and it's done well. So that will occur the weekend after the Louisiana Cajun Zydeco Festival. So you start seeing these events falling into place, and now our concentration is to how can we pull business in so that we can get some hospitality activity from, say, Sunday night through Wednesday or Thursday, and so that first part of the week is when we really are trying to focus some activity. Though right now we have the Jehovah's Witnesses in town. 40,000 delegates are in town, which is great for our city.
My gosh, that really is a lot of people. What's the is that the biggest, say, convention that we're going to have this year?
That will be one of the larger citywides that we'll have this summer for sure. You know, we had a great spring. We had a number of large groups come through. The Convention and Visitors Bureau has a full-time staff of people going out around the country and around the world, actually, talking to meeting planners and association executives about bringing their convention or meeting here to help us fill the Memorial Convention Center and the other meeting spaces that we have. And we like to get into a regular rotation of these large groups because they'll choose us one year, then they may go to Chicago or Las Vegas. We want to get back in the rotation so that we become a regular site for them. And because our city is so friendly to visitors, and it's a walkable city, and even in the summer, we all love our summer months and our heat and humidity, as we call it. But it's a great time to be here, and if we can pull a group like that here on a regular basis, the better off we will be.
Definitely. One question I have is, and I think that I basically have thought about this and have talked to other people, and people want to know, well, how to get into the tourism industry. I mean, would they contact you? Would they contact? Who would they contact if they have an idea, or let's say an idea for another festival, such as Diane had an idea, and as I understand, she brought it to you and idea to you, and I believe to somebody else, and now look what's happened.
Right. Well, we are always about improving the number of assets that would attract not only our citizens to enjoy, but also visitors from around the region. Help promote them through our social assets. We have a wonderful, robust website, NewOrleansOnline.com. We have a fantastic new website that's part of the NewOrleansOnline.com called FollowYourNOLA.com, and we have a series of email newsletters and our Go NOLA video blog. We like to tell the story of these events, and we're working with a group right now on a new festival that would appear and premiere next March around Entrepreneur Week. I can't release the information yet because it's still in the formative stage, but we're providing them some consult and what's a good time of the year to do a festival, because you certainly don't want to compete against another existing festival if you can avoid that, or if you want to be in an area of the city that can handle the infrastructure of a festival. Mid-city, central city, those areas, are really longing for some development of festivals. Like to sort of those if we can.
And Tim Williamson and gang have done just an outstanding job with the entrepreneurship event, and so it seems to me like that would just be a great opportunity to broaden, to tourists and people coming in town. That would last year 5,000 people, I believe. Yeah,
Tim and his group from the Idea Village have done just a magnificent job about putting entrepreneurship on the map here, and now New Orleans being considered one of the top entrepreneurial cities in the nation. That speaks legions about the focus, the passion, and I wanted to say too that every festival that's in existence now started with the first year. Be it either the Jazz Festival, it had its first year, or the Po' Boy Festival, or the Oyster Festival. All these festivals have grown up through the years to be what they are today, but it had to start at least in 1 year, the first year. And I would say to those interested in having their festival started, look around, see what's not being celebrated, and throw a festival around it with, you need corporate support, you need that initial funding, an idea, let that idea germinate, and let's see where it goes.
So is there
spill hotel rooms? I'm all for
it. Right. I actually was at the initial Jazz Fest, and so I remember how few people actually attended that the first year. So comparatively speaking, I have an idea for a festival, a Webcast Fest.
Oh.
Yeah, we can do that, and we'll
yes.
Yeah. So there it is. It's out there. So tell me, in terms of just to follow up with where we're going, are there organizations where people can join, or groups where people can join to talk about ideas and to how to get sponsors and things of that nature?
There really isn't anything in place, though that's a good idea for an organization, by the way. But you can talk to some of the principals around the Idea Village who can help provide some initial thinking on how does someone generate interest in to build the capital case study, because all this depends on the opportunity to have some funding behind it, because you can only do so much with volunteers. You're going to need to pay for logistics, whatever it takes to pull together a decent festival. But we've got such a creative class here now of people who were either born in New Orleans or coming in from other parts of the country, who bring in their thoughts and ideas around doing all sorts of new things. So it seems to me you'd be well met by individuals or organizations who want to support an idea, but again, you've got to find the kernel of that idea that will attract some interest to build a festival. Again, the Po' Boy Festival, if you think about that, it came up after Katrina. It was a way for Oak Street to really help come back as a viable retail location in the Carrollton neighborhood. The Idea Village was behind it, helping support it from a standpoint of pushing it forward and making it believe in itself. And look at it now. Those of you who have been to the Po' Boy Festival, it is, I think, one of the more magnificent neighborhood festivals in our city. Who knew that you could do po' boys 50 ways? But we certainly show it. And it's a great way to spend time in New Orleans, and hats off to the Po' Boy Festival for what they've done.
Yeah, I can eat 50 po' boys anytime, for a trial. So, but look, in terms of say the future, there are different industries within tourism. For example, there's the sightseeing industry. There are the different say activities where people can go to, like the zoo or other type of say events or locations. Now, how can they say get involved, or is there a better way for them to get involved? Like say a sightseeing organization or something of that nature.
Well, someone could be trained to become a tour guide. There are certain qualifications and testing certification that goes along with that. There's training that comes along with someone who wants to work in the hotel or restaurant industry, hospitality in general. I'm a graduate of the University of New Orleans Hotel Restaurant Tourism School, which provides a Bachelor's of Science, plus there's a Master's program attached to that school as well now. If someone wants to go into the culinary arts, you've got the wonderful program at Delgado. Nicholls State University has a culinary program. So there are a number of ways for someone who, say, is not in the industry yet and wants to receive the educational certification behind whatever area of hospitality they want to get into. There are outlets for that. There are certainly organizations like the Convention and Visitors Bureau that people who are currently in the industry, who either own their hotel or restaurant, or they run a retail business that supports the visitation to the New Orleans area, can belong in that trade association. It's really more of the health and lifeblood of our tourism industry by providing educational information, advocacy, and connecting visitors and groups and associations that come in with their businesses. So it's an excellent organization to belong to. The Louisiana Restaurant Association, again, composed of restaurants throughout Louisiana. There's a very strong, New Orleans chapter, the Great New Orleans chapter, again, advocating on behalf of the restaurant industry. So pockets of organizations like that support the players or individuals.
So the Louisiana legislature has just finished its session. Right now, the governor is signing bills, and as was reported, the governor has signed a bill that is somewhat friendly to the New Orleans tourism and convention industry. Can you tell us something about that?
Well, the bill I think you're referencing is the bill for the convention center's ability to move forward with continued development. It's not a static or a one-time development. That box that we know as the convention center is really one of the largest economic machines in our region. When people come to the city and utilize that facility, they're spending money in the facility. They're spending money throughout the city of New Orleans, and it's really like having a Ford Motor Company plant in the middle of the city, because it's generating dollars, it's generating jobs, and you constantly have to improve the facility and the environment around the facility to compete with the other cities. New Orleans was at one time probably considered one of the top 3 destinations for conventions in the country because we, along with one or two other cities, had the facility and we had the infrastructure. Other cities learned very quickly our magic and our secret, and while they don't have our music and our food, they were building bigger and larger convention facilities and infrastructure around convention facilities. So we have to keep up with the Joneses, as they say, if we want to compete and have those meetings and associations and special events come here as opposed to another city. And again, all of it at the end of the day is about supporting the jobs that we currently have and creating more jobs. And we do that through visitor spend. That machine, as you want to call it, the convention center, is much better off today because the governor signed that bill.
Are there anything, any issues or anything that perhaps you might want to get out there to the world that maybe a question I haven't asked?
You know, it's a good summer start as we started the conversation. I think our job is to be better communicators of the relevancy of the tourism industry. You know, we all know someone or those that I know that work in the industry love their work, whether they're working at a hotel or in a restaurant or a museum or one of the many retailers that support the hospitality industry. It's a very joyous and passionate industry. It's folks that go to work each and every day. They take home their pay. They're buying groceries and, you know, paying their cleaner bills or school, and we love what we do. But I think, you know, when we communicate that out to our friends and family and citizens, we tell the story in a better way, and I think we can do a better job of that. And I hope to be a part of that conversation. I love my work. I love being part of an industry that employs more than 78,000 people, and I think the city, without tourism, without the revenue that comes off of tourism, would be much different than it is today. Now, having said all of that, there's something that we call responsible tourism growth, and we need to be very careful about bringing more people into the city and causing impact on certain areas that really we need to be very careful to consider the quality of life of those folks who live in those areas. So as it relates to, for instance, the French Quarter, our role and our job is to help decompress that so that we can spread visitation around the city. The French Quarter can get its fair share, but that we ensure that the infrastructure of the French Quarter is being kept up and improved so that the quality of life, first and foremost for the residents and the businesses that are currently there, improves. And I think once people see that, once visitors see that there's a high quality of life in any area, they want to come visit that. But I think it's a balance we have to consider, and it's something that we're reminded to work on each and every day, and we try to do our best. We can do better, but I think it's important that we grow this responsibly, and I know that's the commitment that I've heard from other members of the industry.
And of course, you know, New Orleans being a big city, we have our say issues, and one of those issues is crime, and obviously every city would like to be crime-free. Is there something that perhaps that from a tourism standpoint that you think ought to be done to at least educate people that, yeah, crime does exist and sometimes it impacts areas of tourism, but you know, it's all in all, when you consider the 9 million people that come into the city, you know, for this past year, or 9 million plus, it's pretty insignificant.
Yeah, you know, I live in the Carrollton Fontainebleau area, and I want my neighborhood to be as safe as any other neighborhood in the city. And sure, we invite people to come into our city, and we want to ensure that their safety is paramount as well. And I think what we can do from the hospitality industry is create more visitor spending that can peel off more dollars that go into our city's treasury to be used for our police and fire and EMS. And so one of the jobs that we have is to do our role well so that we can have more visitor spending coming in. We also communicate daily with visitors. The CVB works closely with associations and large groups that come in to provide those visitors with common sense instructions about just being aware, logical, and using common sense when they're visiting, just as you would any other city. Chicago, New York, L.A., Las Vegas, Orlando. All cities are challenged by the same issues, and I know our men and women on the New Orleans Police Department are the best at their job, and they work each and every day. And what we can do as an industry is support their efforts. The industry came together and is supporting the mayor's NOLA for Life program to help with the effort to reduce violent crime. And we all have a responsibility here. Every family member has a responsibility to ensure that not only our families are safe, our neighborhoods are safe, but we invite someone into the city, we want to make sure that they have a good experience.
One last question. I know that you have to go, and I'm sorry for asking this last question, but the Tricentennial, you have a meeting coming up this afternoon. Can you give us insight in terms of what's going on with that incredible event?
Right, the bicentennial of the Battle of New Orleans, the state commission that was impaneled last year, a year and a half ago, I should say, that former Congressman Henson Moore chairs, is organizing and compiling all of the events, some that we're producing, some that are being produced by organizations that will help us commemorate and celebrate the 200th anniversary of the Battle of New Orleans. The specific date of the battle, of course, January the 8th, 1715. So next January, January the 8th, 2015, we'll have a compilation of celebrations on site at the Chalmette Battlefield, but also throughout the city. But there'll be a number of other events leading up to that January 8th, including the weekend right after January 8th, where you'll have reenactments. You'll have some celebrations by the Ursulines. They played a very important role in the all of the events that occurred around the Battle of New Orleans. Andrew Jackson went to the nuns and asked for their prayers, and the prayers of the nuns are remembered to this very day. In fact, they celebrate a very special mass each and every January the 8th at the National Shrine of the Lady of Prompt Succor on Ursuline's campus uptown New Orleans, to thank the heavens and our God for the saving of the city of New Orleans. It was a pledge they made, and a pledge that they've kept now. It'll be the 200th anniversary of that mass coming up.
Sure, absolutely. And so in 2018, we had the Tricentennial. Am I correct?
Right. We have
that's the really big bash.
Right, big bash. Well, again, I know the mayor's office will help us put together what the approach should look like. Obviously, it'll be a lot of public and private events happening around the 300th anniversary. To me, it'll be our wonderful way to communicate to the rest of the world, to remind the rest of the world of the resiliency of our city, the strategic importance of our city, the fact that we are on the Mississippi River, and the reason why we were established as a city because of that river, and why the next 300 years will be even better.
Gotcha. Well, Mark Romig, listen, I know the next few years, especially with your involvement, is going to be great. So thanks a lot. Appreciate it, and we'll do it again.
Thanks, Stephen. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye.